Good evening. Welcome to our Board of Trustees March School Board meeting for Bastrop ISD. I call this meeting of the Bastrop Independent School District to order. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present and that this meeting has been duly called and that a notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. This time, if you'll please rise for the pledges and a word of prayer.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
If you'd please remain standing. With us tonight, we have Pastor Joseph Albert from First Baptist Church of Bastrop will offer us our opening prayer for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Father, we thank you so much for the opportunity to gather together this evening. Father, I pray that you will bless the board as they gather to discuss important matters of concern for our schools and our community. Father, I pray that you'll give each member of the board wisdom and clarity this evening as they discuss. Father, I pray that you'll give them grace in speech, grace and attitude towards one another. Father, we pray that you will help them to lead well. Father, we pray for the staff, the administrators, and the teachers of our schools. Father, we pray that you'll bless their work and their efforts to serve the children of our community. Father, we pray that you'll help them to be shining examples to these children. Father, we pray for the students of our schools. Father, we pray that you will help them to grow in their knowledge of your creation, that they will grow in their maturity and their wisdom, that they will grow in their virtue. Father, we pray that this generation will be a shining example of leadership in the future. Father, we pray that through the time and the decisions that this board makes this evening, that they will be a source of blessing to our entire community and our region. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Thank you, Pastor Josh. All right, this time we'll move along to our student speaker of character education traits for March, which is self-reliance. Dr. Lee, would you mind introducing our student speaker, please?
Yes, I would be happy to. We have Catalia Coronado. She is an 8th grade student at Bastrop Middle School. Catalia is actively involved in National Junior Honor Society in Student Council. She is an athlete, and recently she earned 7th place in the Dictionary Skills event at the Academic UIL meet. In her free time, she really likes spending time outdoors with her family, and someday she hopes to be a dermatologist. Catalia, the floor is yours.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Catalia Lian Coronado, and it is a huge honor to be up here. What exactly is self-reliance? It's a question that we tend to ask ourselves when the times get tough. To me, self-reliance is more than just knowing how to tie your shoes and being able to do basic tasks. Self-reliance is about finding your voice. It's about the strength to stand on your own 2 feet without needing a hand to hold. I know that sometimes we don't have the support that we need, and it feels like the end of the world. We might find ourselves asking, why me? Why not anyone else? But someone once told me a quote that stuck with me. It has to rain for the sun to shine. Self-reliance is a journey through stages. You start by, I'll never be able to be independent, but slowly and surely the rain stops. You learn that even when you have no one to lean on, you're still standing, living one day at a time, proving to yourself you are enough and you are independent. When I moved to Bastrop this year, I felt like my identity had been erased. No friends, no SUCO, no NJHS, and no sports. People told me I wouldn't be able to get it all back. I had a choice. I could listen to them or I could listen to myself. I chose myself, and today not only am I a part of NJHS, but I am the vice president. Another experience I had was when I was the only one in Algebra 2. I started falling behind with all my work and I felt like I was drowning. I remember sitting there thinking there was no way I could get through it. I felt like everyone else had a shortcut except me. But because no one was going to do it for me, I realized that My own brain and my own 2 hands were enough. That moment didn't just solve a problem, but it built my confidence. I learned that I'm not just standing, I'm standing even taller because now I know what I'm exactly capable of when the pressure is on. So next time you feel like you're in a storm and you're looking around for someone to save you, look in the mirror first. Don't be afraid of the rain because that's exactly how you're going to grow. And while self-reliance means learning and being independent, you also have to surround yourself by people who won't carry you through life, but will stand next to you when the times get tough. Trust your voice, trust your strength, and most importantly, trust yourself. And if you do, I promise the sun will come out again. Thank you, and have a wonderful rest of y'all's days.
That was such a wonderful message. Thank you for sharing that with us. Who did you bring with you tonight? Can you
brought
introduce them?
My dad, Julian, my mom, Valeria, my sister, Paulette, and my grandma, my grandpa, Norma, and Rafael.
Would you all stand up for us?
And Miss Tidwell. And Miss Tidwell.
And Miss Tidwell. I
Without
also
her, I
see-
wouldn't be able to write this.
Yeah, I see. I see somebody else there at the back of the room too.
And my principal.
Well, you have lots of
Great job.
support around you. That's wonderful. Ms. Rodea has a gift that we would like to present to you. Thank you so much for talking to us
Thank you.
tonight.
Thank you.
All right, this time, Dr. Lee, looks like we have some of our SSAC members here this evening for recognition. Thank y'all for
Yes.
being here. Good crowd.
Yes, we do. Mr. Raspberry is gonna pass the microphone, and I'm gonna ask these are Superintendent Student Advisory Council representatives. We have one from Bastrop High School and 2 from Cedar Creek High School, but I'm gonna let them introduce themselves. Give us your name, tell us what grade you're in, maybe how long you've been on SSAC, and what school you go to, and what you're hoping to do after you leave us here in Bastrop ISD.
Hey, and one more thing, if you like our new superintendent.
My name is Jack Tucker, and I've been in SSC for 1 year. I'm a freshman, and I go to Bastrop High School.
I'm Naya. I go to Cedar Creek High School, and I'm a current junior there, and I've been in SSAC since freshman year, so that's 3 years now. And after high school, I plan to attend an in-state university and study fashion merchandising.
My name is Joe Licio. I'm a junior at Cedar Creek High School. I've been in SSAC for 3 years, and after high school, I want to go to the University of Texas and study kinesiology.
Great.
Awesome.
Excellent. Thank you guys so much for being here.
Yes. All right, moving along to our recognitions and special presentations. Number 1 there, we have TASBO 2026 Public Education Ambassador Award, Chris Taywater, our Director of PEMS and Data Quality. And then with that as well, we have number 2, which is the TASBO 2026 Award of Merit for Purchasing Operations, and that's Renee Wingard, and Director of Finance. And our presenter tonight is Mike White, our Chief Financial Officer. Mr. White.
All right, let me call up our first recipient. Join me up here, sir. This is a very, very excited on 2 fronts tonight. Let's first talk about Mr. Taywater. TASBO, which is the Texas Association of School Business Officials, they established an award called the Ambassador Award. And this award honors experienced professionals who actively contribute to TASBO and champion public education in their districts and regions. Ambassadors are leaders who mentor others, share their expertise through teaching and presenting, and play an integral role in strengthening the TASBO community. I'm pleased to share the news that our own Chris Taywater was selected as a 2026 recipient of the TASBO Ambassador Award. So just for a frame of reference, there are about 10,000 members in TASBO, and Chris is one of 6 that were chosen for this award. So also super proud, hopefully don't cut yourself on this, sir. Very sharp. I'm not sure what the theme was there, but like I've told our new superintendent, I don't know if Chris is the very best PEMS leader in the state, but he's definitely in the conversation. So proud to have him part of the team. So
Thanks, sir.
thank you for everything you do, sir. All right.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm gonna sit down now, all right?
All right. I'll work on my segues there. All right. Our second awardee tonight is Mrs. Renee Wingard. So Townsville also establishes, they've established an award of merit for purchasing. And this award was established in 2009 to recognize districts that are committed to following the highest of professional standards in the acquisition of goods and services for their district. The criteria for this award include strong documented processes and controls, transparency measures, and effectiveness in purchasing overall. I'm pleased to share the news that our own purchasing department, led by the amazing Renee Wingard, is a 2026 recipient of the Purchasing Award of Merit. So, on behalf of Townsville, happy to present this to you.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
That's all. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Congratulations to both of you guys, and I think that Mr. Chris over there, he wants to get photos of everybody out in the lobby.
Yes, Ms. Wingard, Mr. Taywater, thank you for what y'all do and your hard work.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations. All right, moving along to our open forum. The board welcomes comments from district citizens and employees, individuals or group representatives who have signed up may speak, focusing on public education topics. Please note the board cannot discuss or act on any issue not listed on the agenda and ask that all attendees be respectful of other speakers and presenters. The board will not allow the use of any derogatory comments toward any individual, staff member, teacher, and board member. The purpose of open forum is to gather input only. Agenda-related issues will be addressed in the appropriate time. Speakers will be heard in order as they were from their request. Open forum is limited to 30 minutes, and so we have one speaker, and we have allotted 3 minutes. And so our speaker tonight is Letitia Linsmer. Chief Linsmer, please come to the podium, please. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm a visual learner. Is there any way I can get a 3-minute visual timer?
I'm sorry?
Can I have a visual 3-minute timer?
Sure.
Awesome.
Thank you, Ms. Rodea.
Thank you. Tonight, to the board and the district leadership, while formal address typically begins with respectfully, I find it difficult to use that term given the current circumstances and the absence of the individual most deserving of that respect. I am here to express my profound disappointment and to question the ethics behind the recent decisions to demote my principal, Dr. Tammy Hernandez. This is the second time the district has made a significant choice for our community without what I believe to be proper due diligence. Delivering this news just before spring break and the upcoming testing season suggests a disregard for the well-being of the staff and students of Bastrop ISD. It appears the priority lies with outward appearances to stakeholders rather than the actual needs of those within the school. Regarding the reasons provided for these changes, I ask, is it performance metrics? And please don't attribute this to test scores. We expect transparency and honesty. Leadership unity. If there is perceived lack of unity, it may stem from a lack of district support, as I have seen other new principals be provided with mentors, yet ours was not. Furthermore, the district knowingly allowed the placement of an underperforming assistant principal at this campus. for the 24-25 school year. Is it community interest? It is difficult to accept that the decision is for the good of Cedar Creek when district leadership remains disconnected from our Creekside family and the unique culture of this campus. Accountability? The district's ability to shift narratives as situations evolve is deeply concerning. One way it's this way, one way it's another. In my view, this is indicative of a lack of integrity. In the last 2 years, the district's presence on the campus has felt like micromanagement more than support. Essential issues such as presence of mold in the building were not addressed in the urgency it required. It was Dr. Hernandez who has been a transformative leader for this campus. She has fought for necessary improvements, brought organization, and fostered a positive environment that is clearly reflected in the happiness of our students. The reputation of this district is suffering. There is a perception that leadership prioritizes individuals who are easily manipulated over those who are truly cared for, students and staff. Sorry, I need to finish the sentence. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right, moving along here to agenda item H, mission movement, visiting international teacher program. Our presenter, Wendy Burnett, our HR coordinator, and Bert Magno, our fourth grade teacher at Emile Elementary. Welcome.
Good evening, Dr. Lee and Mr. Muchink and Board of Trustees. It is with great pleasure to highlight our visiting international teachers and the important role they play in Bastrop ISD. Our visiting international teachers participate in a cultural exchange program through a J-1 visa. This visa allows experienced educators to teach in the United States for up to 3 years, with a possible 2-year extension if they qualify, while participating in programs that promote cultural and educational exchange. These programs must be sponsored by an organization approved by the U.S. Department of State. In addition, in Texas, J-1 sponsors must also be on the approved list maintained by the Texas Education Agency. The process to participate in this program is rigorous and can take several months to complete. Teachers work closely with their sponsors in the U.S. Embassy in their home country to complete multiple steps, including credential reviews, English proficiency evaluations, and extensive background checks, which include social media screenings. While working with their, I apologize, there is a slideshow with it, so we will catch up. While working with their sponsors, teachers may begin applying and interviewing for teaching positions. Once they receive a job offer, they can officially apply for their visa. Each teacher must complete an interview at the U.S. Embassy in their home country. The visa is issued for a specific teaching assignment at a specific location based on the teacher's credentials. For example, for a teacher certified to teach high school mathematics in their home country, they would not receive a visa to teach second grade self-contained in the United States. Their teaching assignment must match their teaching credentials. Currently, Bastrop ISD employs 38 visiting international teachers from 8 different countries. They serve in campuses across our district. We work with 9 TEA-approved sponsors to support these educators. Of the 38 educators, 13 of them hold advanced degrees in a field, in an education-related field. These teachers bring a wealth of knowledge, content knowledge, and instructional expertise, making a meaningful impact on our campuses. Our visiting teachers are serving at all grade levels for instruction. They serve in core content in high school, middle school, and elementary campuses. We have 1 teacher serving in a Spanish class, teaching Spanish at one of our middle schools. In our elementary schools, they are also providing, serving in bilingual education classes. We have our international teachers filling special education roles. Principals and directors report that they are doing amazing work with our students. Students in these specialized classrooms are receiving quality instruction from master teachers they might not have received if it were not for our international teachers. Because this program is designated as a cultural exchange, each visiting international teacher also completes an annual cultural exchange project. Teachers design lessons or presentations that highlight their culture and share them with staff and students, which is some of the pictures that you're seeing tonight in the presentations. For example, Mr. Magno, who has joined with me this evening, facilitates a virtual meeting that connects his students, his current students, with students from his home country, which creates a meaningful opportunity for this cultural exchange. Several of our Bastrop ISD international exchange teachers have been here for 3 years and have become integral members of our school community. Many serve in leadership roles such as CBPL leads, department chairs, and sponsors for student clubs. They are also being recognized for their outstanding work, receiving district honors such as Teacher of the Year, as well as recognition beyond our district. Recently, a visiting teacher from Cedar Creek High School earned first place in a contest hosted by her sponsor, where her teachers created videos highlighting the innovative work in their classrooms. I'm happy to report that we have 12 teachers who have been with us for 3 years, and they are ending their 3rd year in the district, while most of them are applying for a 2-year extension to remain in Bastrop ISD. Our school district has earned a reputation of great schools with great support. For this reason, many of our are choosing to stay and letting their friends serving in other schools know about the great work here in Bastrop ISD. Joining me today is Mr. Magno, a 4th grade teacher at Emil Elementary. Mr. Magno has been teaching at Emil for 3 years and is highly respected by his colleagues and students. He is here today to share his firsthand experience as a participant in the Cultural Exchange Program. Mr. Magno.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Burnett. Good day, everyone. It is an honor to stand before you today as one of the early participants of the J1 International Teacher Exchange Program who arrived in the United States in 2023. Looking back, I realized that being a pioneer is both a privilege and a responsibility. We stepped into unfamiliar places, uncertain of what awaited us, but eager to represent our home countries with dignity, dedication, and heart. Coming to the United States brought excitement, but it also introduced cultural differences that were impossible to ignore, especially inside the classroom. In my first weeks, I discovered that learning environment here is wonderfully dynamic. Students speak their minds freely, ask questions without hesitation, and expect relationship with teachers to be warm, open, and conversational. It challenged me to adjust my approaches, to rethink long-held practices, and to grow alongside my students. Beyond the classroom, everyday life offered its own lessons, from lifestyle rhythms to social norms, from the way people communicate to the way communities engage. Everything invited me to expand my perspective. These differences were not barriers. They became bridges that allowed me to understand more, empathize more, and appreciate the beauty of both cultures. What I treasure most is the realization that despite these differences, there is a universal language that connects us all: education. No matter where we come from, we share a common purpose: to inspire, to guide, and to empower young minds. This program proved that when teachers from around the world come together, we do more than teach. We exchange ideas, traditions, and values. We enrich classrooms not only with knowledge, but with stories, compassion, and global understanding. To my fellow educators, thank you for walking this journey with courage and passion. To Bastrop ISD administrators, members of the board, Dr. Christy Lee, Ms. Wendy Burnett, Ms. Diana Green, to our dynamic principal, Ms. Candace Piles, together with our supportive APs, Ms. Lewis and Ms. Marsh, district coaches and mentors, and communities who supported us, thank you for welcoming us and allowing us to grow. I would like to give special thanks to Ms. Jennifer Greengas as well. Her kindness, generosity, and willingness to help made a lasting impact in our lives. We will always carry your support and compassion to our hearts. And to the next generation of international teachers who will follow, may you embrace the challenges, celebrate the differences, and let your experiences shape you into stronger, more empathetic educators. Standing here today, I am proud not only of how far we have come, but of how much we have learned. Being part of the J1 Teacher Exchange Program is more than an opportunity. It is a transformative journey that changes how we teach, how we see the world, and how we understand ourselves. Maraming salamat po. Gracias. Thank you, and may we continue to inspire across borders.
Thank you, Mr. Magno, for sharing your experience with today. We also have a few other of our international teachers that have come to join. Would y'all please stand and wave? As we finish up today, I want to leave you with a quote from one of our principals. Ms. Reza Cooper says, "I hired 4 teachers, and they are some of the hardest working educators I've ever encountered. They are highly knowledgeable in their content areas, collaborate well with both staff and students, and are always willing to help whenever and wherever needed. They have truly been assets to our campus and have brought a great deal of positivity to our school community this year." And I know this echoes with other principals and directors that have worked closely with our international teachers. So thank you again for your support.
Mr. Magno, you said that students here in your classroom, students speak their mind freely. Yes. Y'all, that's code. For our students, they talk a lot. Earlier this school year, I had a chance to host a lunch event with all of our international teachers in BISD, and it was just an extraordinary afternoon getting to know you all and to visit with you all, and I'm grateful that you're here in Bastrop ISD. Thank you for teaching.
Thank you. All right, moving along to our superintendent's report. Now, Dr. Lee will continue with the mic there.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's been a great few weeks here in Bastrop ISD since our last board meeting. I wanted to give just a couple of shout outs as I've been visiting our schools. First to Bastrop High School. I attended their Black History Month program a couple of weeks ago and was just so proud of them. Miss Tammy Johnson does such a great job, she and her students, of highlighting the important contributions of Black Americans to our country. I want to thank Mayor Harris for coming and being the guest speaker at that event. I'm sure it was inspiring to those students to know that an alumnus who came out of the same high school they're currently attending has gone on to make such a contribution in his own community and that they can do the same thing. Especially, I want to give a shout out to Sine McIntyre, who is a 10-year-old from Emile Elementary. And, you know, the gymnasium was filled with high school students that day. And here she is, a 10-year-old, giving a beautiful solo dance performance. I mean, what a risk that was, but the crowd was crazy. They loved seeing her perform, and she just did an amazing job. I also want to commend Commander Ellis and NC1 Yana Husky, who lead our NJROTC program. Recently, they held their annual military inspection day. And, you know, they're supposed to demonstrate their marching formation skills, their rifle skills, and they in small groups. And my military guys in the room, you'll know what those are called, but like I'll say maybe 12 students at a time, demonstrating different kinds of drills and formations. And my heart was beating because I just knew that one of those students was going to turn left when they were supposed to turn right. But they did not, didn't happen at all. They were just perfect in their execution. I was so very proud of them. I want to take a minute to thank the Bastrop Education Foundation and specifically the Sportsman's Executive Committee. We had the wildly successful Sportsman's Fundraiser event just a week and a half ago. And thanks to countless volunteers and corporate sponsors, all the donors and guests who showed up that night, this event raises hundreds of thousands of dollars for our classrooms. Teachers write grants, they apply to receive this money so that it can make an impact in their classrooms. So a whole new group of volunteers is currently reading all of those grants, and here in just another few weeks, we will surprise teachers. They'll find out if they won one of the grants. So thank you so much to BEF for that partnership. And speaking of partnerships, so I want to thank our Community Relations Department led by Karen Trevino, First National Bank, Bastrop County Cares, and so many other organizations were out at Camino Real Elementary here just last week. Trustees Coy and Dillon were able to attend, but they put on an amazing event for all of the families at Camino Real Elementary. Free food, free childcare, there were games, there were all kinds of community resources to share with those families, and what a great event that was. One of my focuses this spring as superintendent is on making connections and building relationships both inside the district and outside the district. And so this morning, I held the first superintendent coffee with parents, and didn't know how that would go, but was just so pleased at how it went. Trustee Coy was there as well. We had a great conversation about the good, the bad, and the ugly. There were some wonderful positive things brought up, and there were some challenges brought up as well. We're going to do this again next month, but it's going to be for a very unique subset. We're going to invite our grandparents who are serving as parents. We have a unique set of households where the grandparents are doing their second turn at raising kids. And so we're going to invite them to come in for conversation. Kind of another outreach that's just starting this week, in addition to that, is I had Ms. Rodea reach out to all of the heads of non-BISD schools in our boundaries, as well as the directors of all child care facilities, to schedule meetings with me just to build that relationship. My goal is that it would benefit, when we work together, it would benefit all the children in our community, most especially those that we're responsible for, the ones that attend right here in BISD. So that's what's kind of been happening the last couple of weeks. It's been, the spring semester is always kind of a crazy, I describe it as an avalanche of activity. It is that, but it's also really good and very heartening. And Mr. Magno, you said it so well in how you described what we do here in education. And so at this time, I want to invite actually Trustee Ruiz to share a report about her recent experience. She's doing a year-long leadership program with the Texas Association of School Boards. So, Ms. Ruiz?
Thank you, Dr. Lee. So I wanted to shout out one more time our J1 International Exchange teachers. Thank you so much for what you do. And what I'm about to tell you actually dovetails nicely into the presentation that you gave, Mr. Magna. I was able to visit this time around. So my classmates and I have toured the great state of Texas, going to many districts across the state. And this time, in February, we were able to go up to the Panhandle. So I don't know if you know what the Panhandle is in Texas, but it is a great big piece of the state that is very far away from here, and it's almost like going to another country. So we trucked on up to Amarillo, and I'm originally from West Texas, so I know Amarillo very well. I spent a lot of time as a child in a little town called Hereford. And so Amarillo is actually considered the big city if you're spending your time in Hereford, and it all smells like cows. Everywhere you go, it just smells like cows, and you know what I mean when I say that. So one of the campuses we were able to visit was inside of what is called Highland Park ISD. It is part of Amarillo. It's a small district, and the elementary school is all unschooled refugee students that go there. So it was fascinating to see all of the cultures. They did many beautiful dances for us. These are all kinder through, fifth grade. It is an A-rated campus, you guys. It's an amazing little school, and they are using the exact same curriculum we use here in Bastrop ISD, so I was super excited to tell Jennifer that. And they are doing a wonderful job. Many of the ways that we do curriculum and instruction here in Bastrop is definitely the way they're doing it in Amarillo. So that was a big plus. We also got to visit the large district, which is considered Amarillo ISD proper. And that is a very, very big district, also performing very well. They are a B-rated district overall. interestingly going through what many of our districts are going through in terms of declining enrollment. So super creative. They are trying to do things like maybe take on some additional ideas of repurposing closed schools. They did have to close, sadly. Many of our districts have had to close schools as of late, and so they are trying to repurpose some of those buildings. They are all subject to recapture, which is, we're just in a tough spot right now. So many of the schools share this, and they are considering lots of good things. So virtual school is definitely on their radar. They have a great CFO, just like we have, Mike. Mike is our CFO, and he's the best. But they also have a very good CFO who attended TASBO with Mike last week. And so that he gave a great presentation for us too, Mike, and had some great ideas. So I was glad to see that we're, pretty much in line with what's going on around the state, and we're on a mission. So we're doing just as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, just to add to a few things Dr. Lee said, Bastrop Sportsman's Banquet was great. I see a lot of faces in the room. Thank you for the administration for being there. They were helping, they were serving food, they were participating, and it takes about 90 volunteers to pull this off. Next year's our 20th anniversary. We took a year off during COVID, and that's through the Education Foundation. So I know we're way over easily $2.5 million in monies we put back into the classroom.
Yeah, I want to say, I think we might have hit the 3 million.
3 million.
so, too.
Yeah, that's really awesome. So next year is going to be a big year. And also the board, a lot of people volunteered. And if you didn't volunteer, you participated, you spent money there. So it's really great to see everybody. And then Dr. Lee did a good job today at the mayor's prayer lunch. She was on a panel. And so she focused on the word courage, which she definitely has, taken on this position and being up here, and we really appreciate what you're doing. So a lot of great things are happening. It was really good to see the city and the school and the county and business leaders today really come together and in a great way to want to work together and move this community forward. So it was a really great event today, and there's several board members that were there as well. So anyways, thank y'all for everybody in the room for what you do and keeping us moving forward. A shout out to our police department was there managing the events, also for being here tonight, as well as our custodian group. We had them there at the convention center. Clean bathrooms are important. We can learn something from Buc-ee's. So anyways, and for the PAC, thank you for hosting us each month. We do appreciate it.
Mr. Muchink, I wanted to say one thing about the Education Foundation. So before I came to the board meeting tonight, I read grants. And so I'm on the grant reading team and have been even before I joined the board. And Josh has been part of it, and certainly Ashley and everybody up here on the dais. And one thing I wanted to mention about Leadership TASB is that I'm connected to, right now, my classmates represent about 32 other districts across the state. And one of the things I feel very just proud to say is that when we get in our little chat group and they ask questions like, what is happening with your Education Foundation, and how can we best emulate or mirror the way that you all are carrying this out and how involved your board and your community is? So I just wanted to say thank you to Mr. Muchink, because you're a big part of that, and I appreciate everything you've done to get us there.
And thank you, and it is something to be very proud of. I know that a lot of our architects, our contractors, they're from Austin. They go to a lot of these. They just keep telling us how great it is, how much fun they have, and they feel that we definitely do probably the best job of any education foundation around in an event like that. So they've been saying that year after year, and then I know Dr. Mix, we have long history in this thing as well, and so great things are happening, and appreciate all the people. Definitely the people that are working, like Josh and myself, are not grant readers, so thank you, Ms. Trustee Reeves, for doing that. All right, moving along here, we're going to move to our business service report. We're going to have a brief budget update, development update number 2 by our CFO, Mike White.
I will keep it brief, sir. Okay, so we're coming back to you tonight for the second hour of our budget updates for this spring, heading into our budget adoption in June. I want to give you an idea of kind of where we're at, the issues we're facing, the things we're working on, so you have an idea of what's going on. So the number one issue we're faced right now, you saw a little bit of this in our fall demographic update, but our enrollment so far this year is significantly off projections, right? So projected 400 plus kids, and as you see, updated each month, that number is off the target. So that's a little concerning, but also we anticipate as a result little to no growth for next year, right? We would be foolish to assume that, the spigot would turn back on all of a sudden. So continuing to watch that, we're still in a student enrollment-based funding model. So in general, we're not really anticipating a whole lot of additional state funding for the second year of the biennium. The only exception to that really is special education. There's some funding that starts in year 2, actually that is still to be determined by TEA. So looking at that, the voucher impact of the TIFA parent vouchers. Going to talk about that a little bit more here in coming slides. The hold harmless issue I touched upon last month. We'll kind of give you an update on where we stand there. You're going to hear to be determined a lot tonight. I apologize. But also touching upon the special education population needs, always at the forefront anytime we go into a budget season. So,
Mike, can I
Yes,
just
sir.
interrupt you? I know we're talking about enrollment. It looks like we're right where we were last year at this time.
Yes, sir.
According to this recent report. And we're down about 110, 120 students from a high from this year. Do we have any idea what happened to those students? Are they moving out of district, or do we know at this point?
Yeah, that's the crux of it. We're going to talk about that here in just a second, and so if you will let me get to that, I'll address that issue specifically so that I don't get too far ahead of myself. But you're right. This is a snippet from your normal enrollment report that's in the financial report. So this is the same data that you're seeing, and that's probably what you're referring to as well. You can see year over year, the last 5 years, we have that growth. We had some growth in the first semester, but really it's the trajectory that's most concerning. You'll see that particularly the last 2 years, we've kind of had what I'll call a seagull kind of shape, right? Where you kind of go into the December, the end of the first semester, it dips, and then it kind of rebounds, and then at the end of the year, it dips. So we got to mid-year in December, and we didn't see that increase. In fact, we saw a little bit of a decrease in January, and then 41 kids, if my math is correct, in February. So it's more so the trajectory and what's going on. I'll say that it's really difficult for our district, our demographer, every other district. A lot of districts are asking the same question. We'll talk about that a little bit more as well. But we can't really attribute it to low birth rates. That's a piece of it. Specifically, there are other options, parent choice, that mostly come on next. It's not vouchers, because that doesn't start till next year. So I really don't know the answer. That's I could make guesses, but I would be speculating.
Well, and I think what I've heard about the voucher program is that essentially almost 80% of the applications are already coming from kids that are already in private school. So
Yeah, that's exactly right.
The public school kids aren't necessarily applying for the vouchers.
Yes, sir. Have you read my presentation ahead of? I think you're
just paying attention.
Somebody give him access.
He has a degree in finance,
yes.
too.
Great minds think alike, sir. We are going to touch upon that right after that. We talk about enrollment. You're right. And so that's something to consider as well. So what we're focused on now, and we're going to have a demographic update in April coming, that's on next month's agenda. So really look into them to help us, to guide us through this, because they are the experts in that realm. But I will say this is not an issue that is strictly borne by us. So let's talk about all the categories. I thought it'd be interesting to kind of take a look at this one by one, because it affects districts differently. In some areas, charter schools are already a big impact, right? In a lot of the news stories you've seen, they talk about the impact of charters. That's really not a big issue here. In fact, we've seen declining charter school enrollment over the last 2 years. Virtual schools is interesting. That's a small but growing aspect of parent choice. I think the numbers went from 69 to 111 over 2 years. So as a percentage, that's large, right? It doesn't explain, 480 kids, but It is growing, and that's something that's not going to go away. So it's something we're going to have to look at closely. Other ISDs, we're looking at that. Of course, the two biggest destinations for our kids are, on our western boundary, that being Del Valle and Lockhart in the southwest. So, I mean, that's a piece of it. But again, this is something that's not Bastrop specific necessarily. And that every district we've spoken to in the Austin area is under their projected student number. So if one of us were off the mark, that'd be one thing, but when we're all off the mark, something's going on, and that's really the question we're all asking each other is what's going on. So, continuing to watch. So vouchers here to touch upon some of the data that you've seen as well, sir. As of March 8th, 163,000 applications. And they just released today, I saw something shared that had 341 for Bastrop ISD. Now, before that alarms you, I'll say it's possible 341 homeschoolers are on that list. It could be, private school kids that we never had or never will get. I did look at the list, and the thing I noticed almost immediately is there's a strong correlation between size of district and number of applications. I didn't put them side by side, but it looks to correlate closely. So, other than that, not a big takeaway there. I will say that for all the posturing this past session about, from politicians about this being some kind of saving grace for public education, less than 1% of the applications came from public school families. So 99% of public school families said, we're not interested. So where did they come from? 79% of them came from private school students. This is my not shocked face. That is, that was the concern, and it's definitely played out so far. One of the things interesting, they also released some socioeconomic data, and I won't go as far as I went last month, but almost a third are from families that make more than 5 times the federal poverty level. So by any given standard, that from wealthy families, those that are wealthier even than most. So that data comes out from the comptroller. Interesting to watch as we, approach the finish line there. But I will say a little disheartening, the use of public dollars. So that's my soapbox. The hold harmless issue touched upon last month. This was a little concerning because if you'll recall last session, there was an increase in the homestead for those over 65, right? They had an increase in the homestead in school districts in code were supposed to be held harmless. So it was one of the tax relief strategies they had, right? In this specific example, there were 300 districts approximately that lost funding in early releases of funding for this year, and that was troubling, and that's why I brought it to your attention last month. I think enough of the 300 districts have worked with TEA and the comptroller's office, and we've definitely been fighting this battle. TEA finally released an update on Friday at like 5 o'clock, which indicates in a very wordy way, but at the end, the takeaway is that some help is on the way. And I will say that that's encouraging to some extent. I won't call it a solution. I think it reads more like a compromise, because until every district is made whole like we were told we were going to be, it's definitely not a full solution. So there's a webinar this afternoon about the updating issues, because of course every district wants to know how do we come out in this. So right now we're anticipating some lost funding, unfortunately. So that's to be determined exactly, but the early runs we have don't have us being truly held harmless. So something we have to overcome there. Talking about public ed in general, I just wanted to share a couple of headlines in recent days you might have seen in Austin papers. We have Pflugerville, Austin, Georgetown, and I think Round Rock is also in those. If you search ISD budget 2026, these are the top 3 or 4 results you get. So this is kind of what's happening in a lot of primarily in the major cities, bigger districts, but we're not immune to some of the challenges they face. You've heard about them closing campuses and all the things they're having to do. We don't have those kinds of issues, but public ed continues to have some challenges across the state. So I thought that was interesting to share. Other aspect I wanted to highlight for you, it's early. It's not 2027 yet. It's not next session, but vouchers, you'll recall, going into the campaign for the governor and lieutenant governor and whatnot, they prioritized what has come to fruition. So this primary season, they were talking about some things I thought were very interesting, and we're sharing. So the governor is campaigning on a lot of taxpayer relief, including a 3.5% increase on spending, like a cap, which could also be growth plus inflation. A 2/3 majority on tax increases. That's something they've been trying to carry forever, primarily on school bonds, not necessarily for their own elections, ironically, but a 5-year cycle on reappraisals, which for us, we reappraise value every year, bring new property online every year. So that's, of course, interesting with the use of the value studies that they impose. A 3% limit on appraisal growth and eliminating school taxes on homesteads, which is probably the biggest headline you guys heard about. Of course, I assume that means on the M&O side, because every community taxes their own debt separately. I don't know how that would work, but even for M&O, I heard a figure of $90 billion. So I'm not sure, I guess that's a 30% sales tax. I don't know what would fund $90 billion in tax relief, but we'll worry about that later. And I'm sorry, I've had too much caffeine.
You're doing good.
And the lieutenant governor is focusing on, again, he carried the torch for using homestead increases as opposed to tax compression last time, and that definitely carried the day with the increased homestead. So his focus going on to into this next session is lowering the frozen levy to age 55. So that, I haven't seen that quantified. That seems a little bit more attainable if you're looking at some of the other ideas here. So interesting to see how this plays out come this time next year. So here we are for a frame of reference in the budget process. We're in the heart of it, doing the work, working with departments and campuses, looking at all the factors we're talking about. That's the work we're doing now. Starting working on some of the departmental and campus budgets. Coming back to you with an early look at what that budget looks like. Coming back to you with a draft of it in May when we really have the work done for June approval. So.
Now, is this just real quick, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
update and presentation one, are that the same thing? This is.
I'm sorry, that looks like
No,
that
no
should
problem.
be
Be a
two.
number 2.
That looks like a copy and paste there.
Oh, no problem,
I
but a
didn't wanna give you the same
presentation and
presentation.
update, I'm just for the agenda, presentation and update are the same thing?
Yes,
On the-
sir.
Okay, perfect, okay.
Yes.
So basically, we'll have another one in April,
Yes, every month, sir, between
Okay.
February
We may
and,
have a workshop as well. in April.
workshop in April as well, okay? Okay.
yeah, so we'll come back to you every month, giving you updates, really finishing up in May and June. So, moving forward, we touched upon it, next month is a big milestone. What do the demographers project for our enrollment? As we look inside where all of our dollars are spent, what student-teacher ratios are acceptable? Looking at that really closely. What expenses are optional? Of course, that goes without saying, but on a line-by-line basis, department by department, looking for things that we can possibly reduce. Are there any capital expenditures we can forego, at least temporarily, until we're on more solid footing? And then, what are the first areas of cost to reduce? Of course, we look at overhead administrative costs. Those are, as you know, very lean, but definitely our priority for focus. Anything we can forego, anything that revenue is more fixed, but expenditures, looking at every position as it comes open and trying to be as efficient as we can, so that we can come back to you with a budget that's balanced, that we feel solid about, and propose to you for adoption. So, lots of challenges, but we're doing some good work, and we'll come back to you with something we believe strongly in. So with that, I'll open it up to any questions you might have.
I've got some.
Yes.
A couple of years ago, I think, when I first got on the board, budget was, again, it was cut.
Yeah.
Do you foresee, I mean, we added a couple of positions, I think with the MSST or the T, whatever.
MTSS?
Yes. I mean, are we going to go back and cut those? Is that what you're foreseeing? Or since the
I don't-
budget's going to, dollar-wise, is going to be the same, we can keep the programs that we put back in?
So let me handle those one by one.
Sure.
Okay, so specifically with MTSS, we haven't had many discussions about cutting MTSS. In a more global sense, yeah, ultimately we have to cut something. I mean, our budget is positions and other, miscellaneous expenses. So, there's going to have to be something that we look at. But that's really where the work, is coming in future weeks, working with principals and of course, the superintendent has her vision and will lead us through that process. And, I think MTSS is a priority. I think that campus positions are priorities. So, of course, last resort. So it's probably too early to say exactly how it would all shake out, but yeah, I think every district is going to have to make some cuts for sure.
And Mike, with that, I know the priority for our district is the classroom.
Yeah.
And the focus is going to be on that and maintaining
Right.
the classroom environment. I think we also, every year, end up having some people retire, and with the declining enrollment, we may lose the need for every position. Then we may not replace them. I mean, that might be a source. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I don't want to speak for Diana, but I know attrition definitely helps. You're thinking more along the line of positions, not individuals,
Right.
because we lose a certain amount, and then as you might change some seats on the bus, but ultimately, but yeah, to answer your, I guess, more broad question, every position would kind of be viewed in that lens. I mean, of course, classroom teachers, trying to do that on a equitable and fair basis, looking at how many students are at each campus, and what are the needs there and the programs there. So beyond that, everything is up for discussion. I mean, there's no sacred cows beyond the classroom, I wouldn't say. And so that's where the real work begins. So be coming back to you with some more specifics next month. Just wanted to update you where we were.
You mentioned on the slide that you might look at the teacher-student ratio.
Yeah.
I thought by state law, we are mandated to have number of students per teacher, so I'm not going to assume we're going to not be in compliant with that.
Do you want to touch on that?
I think where that conversation comes up is one of the things that we had hoped to do and want to do is to consider lowering class size ratio at some campuses, specific campuses that need that extra support, not necessarily going over in every, but just looking at differentiating the support that we provide from the service center lens to different campuses depending on their needs.
Okay. And when we talk about the teacher-student ratio, we're talking whether it's certified or if it's a uncertified teacher. You're talking an instructor and the students.
Correct.
Okay. And
Yes.
we'll make sure we don't go out of compliance on that.
Correct, yes.
Thank you.
All right, any other comments, Mr. White? Well, thank you for you and your team's hard work. I know y'all are going to be really popular the next couple months, and we look forward to seeing something very proactive and managed and balanced.
Thanks, sir.
Next meetings, thank you. All right, our communications as well as our curriculum instruction, facilities and support services and human resource and police and safety and security reports are all for information only. I think Trustee Armstrong had a few comments.
Yes, sir, I do. Just reading the package, and I appreciate, for one, for you all putting this package together. Even though this one was fairly light reading, I really enjoy it, and most of the stuff in here is just a wow, and I want to give kudos to the district. One of the things that caught me was the Mena Elementary students spreading kindness. And I actually, I went to the videos. How's that going? That was just amazing. What came up with that idea? That was great.
I don't know that I can speak to who came up with the idea or how it's going today. Let me see if there's a colleague in the room. Raina can speak to that.
Thank you. Welcome.
We have an awesome student support counselor at MENA this year, a new one, and she came up with the idea of creating stickers to put on cups through a coffee venue here in town, and so it made the news. So yeah, it's really neat. Spreading kindness. Children drew the stickers and then they put them on the cup.
Were the students just amazed and were they enthused about?
Absolutely.
I mean,
Yes.
the stickers were there, so feedback from the public really good?
I'm assuming.
Okay, so
I tried to go by there this weekend and they were closed, but I was going for my sticker too. But yeah, no, it's really it's exciting and it's a great output.
To get the thing. And then the next would be Jennifer. And this was one because for some reason, I was a science fair judge, and then I guess they fired me out at Red Rock. I don't know. But anyway, I do want to kind of make that notation. But I want to congratulate you by being a science fair judge. And some of those projects, you can tell that, yes, you can tell sometimes they had some help. But for the most part, the children are just the students. Some of the projects are wonderful, and I do want to commend. I'm more involved with Red Rock because I'm out there, but I know the other campuses have it, and I know the students are really committed to that.
We have a great team that pulls that off every year, spearheaded by our science specialists that we have. And what's awesome is they get to take it to the regional science fair in Austin, which is a great opportunity, not for them to be able to show off what they've done, but also those interpersonal skills where they're speaking to a judge and they're having that experience too. So it's great for the kids.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. Then I'm going to move on. Diane, got a couple for you, and that's just it. The teacher time analysis study update. I know it's just started, it's just beginning, but what's the purpose of that? I thought teachers, after they work, they just go in their file cabinets.
This is actually Wendy found this grant that TEA was providing as it's a retention model, as an opportunity to really dig deep into, we tend to be siloed even though we talk and meet and all of the things. It's a way to really look at all of the things that the teachers are working on every day. And from, and Wendy may be able to speak to it a little bit more, but just your, from planning, first thing in the morning, conference time, what's required from the bilingual department and from CNI and from HR and all the different lenses, and really looking at ways that we can help maybe lessen some of that burden and pass on some of because the teachers really lead the ways that they can make the change, and then we can then pass it on to our other campuses. So TEA only allowed, it's a 3 campus model. So we did a secondary, middle school, and elementary to get a target for each.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So are we hoping to, I have teachers in my family, and I know it is not an 8 to 3 job. They are, and I know from Red Rock, they're out there at 10 till 7, 7 o'clock, and I go by there and I know afterwards. So are we hoping to gather not only what the teachers are doing during the school day, but also perhaps give them some comfort that, yes, we know you work at home.
Yes.
And here's some hints or some ways you can maybe be, I'm not going to say be more efficient, but just a little bit, don't burn out.
Absolutely. And I do think it's very eye-opening when you have a teacher. I'm getting to experience that directly myself with my daughter at home. I go in, she's working at her desk, she's in school, so I'm thinking she's doing school, and she's in with laminated, cutting out, getting ready for the next day. And it has been very eye-opening. So I think it's a chance to look at the overall, what they're doing on the weekends at home, because the survey that went out did go to the entire staff. But then the teachers that are selected on campus will do a time log that TEA's already built. We're just kind of plugging in, trying to make it as easy as possible. But then, yes, to get ways to share out ideas of things that could be beneficial for other campuses as well.
I look forward to getting updates and seeing what it is. And then last, but just good luck. And I meant to write it, what the acronym meant for, but I know that PREP, and I dug a little research in that. Good luck. I thank you for doing it, and good luck, and I hope the district can benefit from that.
That's another thing that Wendy's helping us with, that this position's been really exciting. We are excited to see what comes. This is the first time for the prep allotment, and we don't know. You could apply for up to 40. We'll see if we get that many, but we have plenty of people that we can allow to benefit from it, to have some help financially as they go through the route to getting certified.
Yeah, no, I'm
excited about it.
I think that was wonderful. And like I said, the packages were it's just filled with a lot of good stuff.
Yes.
And I know sometimes I want to give kudos, and I can't spread it all to everybody, but I just know for people who maybe are watching and don't have children in the school district, like myself, we don't know. And I just want to just let it know, hey, I met with Jennifer, and I went from to kudos, and I thank you all for your hard work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'd like to echo that. I know probably 5 to 7 years ago, some of us on the board really got feedback from the teachers of paperwork, and that they really bogged down in it, and what were some proactive things that we can do. I know, Wendy, you were the principal at the time, and some different things, and so it's great that you're getting their feedback. It's great that we're listening to them, trying to find ways to definitely be more efficient, especially with the state and TEA changing their rules all the time. And what we got to do and how we got to do it, and curriculum and different things like that. So that's definitely, like Carol said, kudos. So,
thank you.
Mr. President, one thing I want to share is, I know Dr. Lee alluded to this earlier, Trustee Coy and I got to go to the Camino Real community event they had out there, and I was just so impressed with how it was put together to benefit the kids, and then the community involvement. There was parking, there was no more parking in our lot. There was parking along all the driveway, and it was just so well attended. That's what we need in our community is, and I know there's some plans to have that some more, and maybe at a different location, a different campus, but it was so well put together, so well run. The kids were incredible to see, and the benefits that they got from being there. And of course, I think the big thing is that they were giving away cotton candy, but you could not get cotton candy unless you got a book first. And then they were giving away all the free books. And so every kid walked out of there with a book and their cotton candy. And so we may have to start doing that for the board meeting. Give us a book.
We can work that out.
Some Red Bull or some coffee for reading 400 pages. Yeah.
I was gonna add to that, I know we're in the career day frenzy right now, but I've been to a couple of them. They are going unbelievable. They're great right now, and having a lot of support from the community and the businesses. I went to Cedar Creek Elementary, there was a farmer there. I thought that was awesome. So I think there's one tomorrow in April, and I'm sure you're going to talk about that next month on the report that you're going to give.
All righty, thank y'all. Moving along to our consent agenda. Would any board member like to pull any of the consent agenda items for discussion? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda items as presented.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
We have a motion, we have a second. All right, all in favor, raise your hand. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, moving along to our action items here. Consider approval of certification of unopposed candidates for Board of Trustees election scheduled to be held on May 2nd, 2026. as well as B, consider approval of order of cancellation of Board of Trustees election on May 2nd of 2026. Evan Moreland, our Executive Director of Communications, welcome.
Good evening, trustees. In accordance with the May 2nd, 2026 election law calendar set by the Texas Secretary of State, notifications of the window to file an application for a place on the ballot were duly published before the December 15th, 2025 deadline. And the window was opened from January 14th, 2026 until February 13th. Further, the application window for write-in candidates was remained open until February 17th. At the conclusion of those windows, the only applications received were those of Josh Coy and Priscilla Ruiz. Therefore, as the election official for the district, I have provided for you the required certification of unopposed candidates for Board of Trustees election. And I recommend to the board to approve to certify that Josh Coy, place 3, and Priscilla Ruiz, place 4, are unopposed for the election scheduled on May 2nd, 2026, as presented.
So move.
Second.
We have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thanks for raising your hand, Josh. Trustee Coy there. Still Trustee Coy. Thank you.
I was making sure Priscilla raised her hand.
Okay. All right, now moving along to our next motion. Mr.
Yes.
Moore.
Through your action there, Joshua Coy, place 3, and Priscilla Ruiz, place 4, have been certified as unopposed and are hereby elected as school trustees. A pre-clearance letter will be sent to the Department of Justice notifying them of the cancellation of the election, and certificates of election will be issued at the May board meeting. Per your approval of the certification, I further recommend the board cancel the election scheduled on May 2nd, 2026, in accordance with Section 2.053A of the Texas Election Code by adopting the order of cancellation as presented.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor, raise your hand. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Moreland. Appreciate it. Moving along here for our information items, the Board of Trustee calendar of events as well as enrollment and the CH local single budget purchases more than $50,000 or more for information only. Moving to item D, Region 13 Board of Directors election for place 5. I, Ashley Muchink, have received a letter and official ballots for our Education Service Center, Region 13, on March 3rd, 2026, asking our Board of Trustees to conduct an election at our March meeting and return the ballots to Region 13 on or before April 5th. The official ballot is at our seat this evening, and the board does not need to take action on this item. Only notate in the minutes that the ballots were distributed to the board members. There is one contestant position, place 5, on the Board of Directors at Region 13. The resumes of the 2 candidates were received and attached in our board packet for consideration. After completing your vote, please place in the envelope, seal it, and give it to Ms. Rodeo, and return in the envelope provided by Region 13. Any questions? Everybody see their ballot and their envelope there? Just turn those in before the meeting's over, please. All right, this time we'll move into closed session. The board will now convene in the closed meeting to discuss the following items posted on our agenda this evening, allowed by the Texas Government Code 551.071 and 551.074. No voting will take place in the closed meeting. Any action the board wishes to take as a result for discussion in the closed session will take place after the board meeting convenes in open meeting. And it is now 6:43 p.m. and we'll go into closed session.
Oh, wow. And you didn't go hoop, huh?
We're,
All right. The time is now 7:13 PM, and the board will now reconvene in open session. I will entertain a motion.
I move to accept the superintendent's recommendation on administrators' contracts as presented in closed session.
Second.
We have a second. All in favor, raise your hand. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, any objections to adjourning this meeting? If there are none, meeting adjourned. Thank you.